Hi, welcome to an episode of TFT HyperRoll from Mission for Tuition. Algorithm, like, comment, subscribe. You know this channel is to raise money for tuition for our son because he has to go to a special school. It's frightfully expensive, and the way you can help out is watch the videos. We don't take donations. So if you watched my last video all the way till the end, then you saw that I did a little bit about if there's a spatula, I like to go Renewer. Now in this case, there was absolutely no Vladimir on the carousel, but I'm still hoping to try and force Renewer because I've found that with spatulas out there, a lot of people go Hellion, Dawnbringer, Skirmisher, and Renewer counters those really, really well. After going through the NPC rounds, I've managed to get a Silver Vladimir, I put together a Silver Syndra, and I'm picking up basically anything that will fit, as my current goal is to build into Renewer, but I want to make the board as strong as possible until I get to make that transition. So Sunfire Cape onto my Knight, have Syndra in the back just tossing things away, and Vladimir within the front, hoping to ultimately add to that and turn this into a 6 Renewer team with an unkillable vampire. And I can't help but notice in my second match that this person seems to be running a very similar strategy. They have 2 Renewers, they also have a tier sitting on the sideline so that they can create a 3rd Renewer if they want, so they might be headed in that direction. I'm not sure based on their bench, but they also have a Silver Vlad and another one on the bench, so this is going to be competition. I go ahead and grab the BF sword here as the best option because I'm thinking I might be shifting what I'm going to do, especially after seeing that someone else may be going Renewer. So I think this is a good time to check and see if Redeemed can still work, as it doesn't work that well in Ranked right now, but with the right items, on the right champions, I believe almost any build can work in HyperRoll. The only one I haven't been able to get to work really at all is Draconic, but that's because it's based so much on luck. And despite what Lizzie may think, luck isn't always on my side. But my friend at Riot said, hey, look, you gotta trust me on this one. Here's a 2-star Varus, here's another Leona, just go with it. So I say, okay, time to give up on my dreams of the 6 Renewers, put in Brand as an item holder, and start loading up Brand with Vel'Koz items. The name of the game here is survival. Redeemed has a real weak spot in the middle before you get to 6, and even 6 isn't nearly as strong as it used to be. So you gotta take advantage early when you have the buff and the champions that can carry it out. Just squeaking past that Olaf. Into Radiant items, while Rabadon is tempting, Spear of Hirana is the no-brainer for me because Vel'Koz absolutely needs a mana item. Since Brand is going to be casting more often, I decide to lean into Spellweaver since he will continue to gain AP throughout the fight each time he casts. Now in this case, I'm rolling a lot more than I normally would be in trying to do a redeemed comp because I feel I'm going to need to get Brand up to 2 stars in order to hold on and keep my health high. I have not yet though been rewarded with the 2-star Brand I feel I need to really compete. At this point, I'm also hoping for a Negatron Cloak because I would like to make the Redeemed emblem, but without it, I will take the Needlessly Large Rod and of course grab the early Rel. But this is definitely that weak spot in the Redeemed build where even with my 2-star Brand and the Spellweaver buff, it's not quite strong enough, especially facing a Lucian with an Infinity Edge and Jeweled Gauntlet. That Olaf isn't helping us much either as he's able to chop through everyone. My friend at Riot gives me a golden globe of happiness and an interesting choice to make. Do I want to give up on the idea of getting a Negatron Cloak and just grab the spatula for the force of nature? Yeah, of course, why not? I'd like to have the extra champion out there, and especially when it can be Karma, which will trigger the Invoker buff, along with completing my Lux, and also giving me a few extra Syndras, so I am just 1 Syndra away. But Riot giveth and Riot taketh, and runs me right into a team with a Jax that has a Bloodthirster and Eternal Whisperer on it that can absolutely tear apart my team. Through the NPC round and rolling, I am able to pick up a gold Syndra, and I grab the sparring gloves because that is going to be another critical Vel'Koz item. It will allow me to make the Jeweled Gauntlet, and once I find Vel, it's time to say goodbye to Brand and hello to Vel'Koz. putting the 3 required items on of the Hextech, the Spear of Hirana, and the Jeweled Gauntlet, which will make Vel'Koz as strong as possible. My goal now is to get to 2 before I'm knocked out, because a 2-star Vel'Koz is what I'm absolutely going to need to make this team work. Now, I made a mistake here by going to 7 redeemed and not staying with 6. 6 is actually better, and someone much smarter than me worked out the math on Reddit. Each champion gets 35 additional AP that is then spread among the rest of the team when they die. If there's 6 champions, as each one dies, each remaining champion will get plus 42. If there's 7 redeemed, each remaining champion will get 40.83 when they die. So while the last champion will remain stronger under 7, the intermediate game is much weaker. And I know that was a mouthful, but it is now time for Radiant item time, the second Radiant item, and Warmog's Pride. Easy choice. I also pick up the Zera because I'm going to want to do the Spellweaver instead of the additional redeemed, but it gives me a tough choice along the way. With the Nautilus, I get 2 buffs, Ironclad and Knight. So I want to talk a little bit about positioning here. It is very important when you're running redeemed to keep Syndra right in front of Vel'Koz. Her job is to fling anything that gets near Vel away. The NPC round was quite friendly, gave me a Guardian Angel and the 2-star Vel I needed. I decide it's time to really protect that cold Syndra with the Guardian Angel, and then give her a rapid fire cannon to speed up her attacks and allow a little more room. Her job, keep everything possible away from Vel'Koz. So there's going to be a lot of positioning discussions going forward. This person has an absolutely perfectly itemized Vayne, but because everything is clumped in the corner, one shot from Vel'Koz takes down almost their entire team. The rest of it goes down within the next 2 shots, and it's a pretty easy win for something that shouldn't have been. Now, since my Vel'Koz got hooked in the last fight, I decide to move Zera into the corner, so if anything's going to get hooked, it's going to be her. But this one really relies on Syndra keeping things away from Vel'Koz. Vel'Koz needs to be able to get the full power of that laser off. Syndra keeps stuff away, allows Vel to fire, and ultimately take down that Lucian. And with that win, we are into the top 4, which of course is my real goal for any of this, is just to make it into the top 4. But now we get a chance to put out a Lulu for the Mystic buff. So we are rocking every buff we can rock with this, thanks to that Force of Nature that my friend at Riot gave me. As the only person who can go out after 1 round, since I only have 6 health and everyone else has 8, I get the Ghost team, which is a pretty intimidating place to be, since neither one of them are going to get eliminated, but I absolutely could. Luckily, Syndra does her job, keeps things away from Vel'Koz long enough for him to absolutely obliterate them. And while that final Rel is really hard to take down, with that Radiant Gargoyle Stone Plate, we are able to get it done in overtime. With 2 Gwens on my bench, I'd really like to pick up the 3rd and have her instead of Lulu to make my front line a little bit stronger. So it's time to use Teemos wherever I can, since 6, 5, 4, 3, it all really doesn't matter. And yes, I know people see this and say, oh, you could have had a silver Teemo and replaced Karma. Yes, it's possible, but it's also possible that I only got back the exact same Teemos I kept dropping in. There's no guarantee the additional Teemo would have been there if I had rolled if I hadn't just sold it. Now remember, I said earlier there was going to be a lot about positioning. This person had already lost to me before, in large part because they had clumped, and you never want to clump against a Vel'Koz. Once again, Vel'Koz is able to reach right across and take out their main damage dealer. With them down at 2 health, this particular mistake led to their demise. And now it's down to just 2 players, so I check in on the other person, and they have a gold Jax. And with that Jax sitting next to a double Banshee's Claw, it's going to be extra trouble because I'm not going to be able to CC them with Rel or fling them easily with Syndra. So I know I'm in a lot of trouble right now. However, they moved the Jax away from the Banshee's Claw over to the Vel'Koz side of things, but that puts them right in range of where Syndra is and allows her to fling them to the opposite corner where Vel can do a ton of damage. Vel ultimately takes out the majority of their team, but their Jax just powers up. But Syndra keeps throwing him away, and then Vel does exactly what Vel needs to do. This is where everything paid off, because having Syndra come back and hold things off allowed Vel to finish them. We're now into sudden death. I check in again. They've now moved Jax next to the double Banshee's Claw. So I am going to try to put my Vel across to the other side. As I'm making the move, I notice they've peeked in on my board, but I've got to go ahead and do it because I need Jax to go down. Now, I don't think there is a world in which I should win this match against a gold Jax. But they put Jax in the back line, which meant even with those Banshee's Claws, he was likely going to take and absorb a couple of hits prior to blocking Syndra's fling. Syndra flinging him away is what makes it nearly impossible for him to get to Vel'Koz before Vel'Koz is able to finish him off. Syndra keeps him back, and Vel is able to heal and ultimately win the match. I believe if they had put Jax in the front with the Banshee's Claws, they would have gotten to me and finished me off, but I guess lucky for me, this is the way it went. Hope you enjoyed the video and have an absolutely awesome day.